Praise the Lord, my dear friends. Today let us reflect together on the readings that are given to us for the 31st Sunday of the Ordinary Time. In today's first reading, taken from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verses 2 to 6, we see Moses instructing the people of Israel and telling them to obey the commandments of God. And he also tells them, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. How can we love someone with our whole heart? We know today, love is a word that is used and abused a lot. That does not mean that there are no real examples of genuine love anymore. We can see real, genuine, sincere love between parents and children, between couples, brothers, sisters, teachers and students, and so on. At the same time, we can also notice several examples of love that is not really genuine. So, how can we love someone genuinely, with a whole heart? One of the ways in which we can really express our love and concern for someone is by making that particular individual a part of our decision-making process. Imagine if someone tells you that he or she loves you very much and yet does not tell you anything about what's really going on in that person's life. How will you feel about that kind of a love? You may say such love is only just in words and not in action. So genuine love would make the other person a part of your decision-making process. And that is the same in our relationship with God as well. If we say that we love God genuinely, then God becomes a primary element in our decision-making process. Every decision that we make, every new step that we take, we do in consultation with the Lord, keeping in mind all the commandments and instructions that He has given to us in the scriptures. And we know love is not just a matter of feelings and emotions, but genuine love, or Christian love, loving like Jesus, is a firm decision, and such a love is not affected by the response that we get from the person we love. We can notice that very clearly between parents and children. The way parents love the children and the quality of their love is not affected by the response that the children give to them. Though there are cases that shows the other way, but normally the children's misbehavior does not affect the quality of the parents' love for them. And when we say that we make the other person a part of our decision-making process, do we mean that we need to let others control us? That we are incapable of taking any decision on our own? No. Just see the example again of parents and children. Children may not be actively involved in the decision-making process of the parents. However, every new decision that the parents make, they do so keeping the good of the children in their mind. So, the good of the children is their focus. So, in the same way, when we say that we love someone genuinely, we keep the good of the other individual in our mind whenever we take any decision that matters to them. And we notice when Jesus speaks about the greatest commandment that we see in the Gospel according to St. Mark, chapter 12, verses 28 to 34, He attaches the love of the neighbor together with love of God. Why? Because to be able to love someone genuinely as Jesus did, one has to love the Lord with his whole heart. Loving the neighbor with the whole heart is a result of loving God with our whole heart. And sometimes we notice in our life certain relationships, certain friendships grow cold as time passes by. What may be the reason? Maybe we need to analyze and see whether we have been making those individuals a part of our decision-making process. Many times we notice that we have failed in doing so. And so when we go on living without really being concerned or worried about what is genuinely good for the other individual, the relationships get cold. And it is the same in our relationship with God as well. When we go on living without any concern about what exactly is genuinely the interest of the Lord in our personal life, our relationship with God can also become cold. And relationship changes also when people change, people evolve. Not necessarily because they are bad or we are bad, but people evolve. And sometimes we feel disappointed when we miss certain friendships that we had earlier. And that is why if we strike a friendship with the Lord, by making the Lord a primary part of our decision-making process, that friendship will never end. The Lord will always remain in that relationship faithful. And that is why in the second reading, taken from the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 7, verses 23 to 28, we see Jesus as a high priest that does not change. Every other high priest leaves the office when he dies, but Jesus always remains. And his power to save anyone who wants to approach God through him is certain. He always lives to make intercession for them. So we can be certain when we make the interests of Jesus the primary element in our decision-making process, we can strike a very warm friendship with our Lord. And seeing it from the perspective of Jesus, in every decision that Jesus made, He kept you and me in His mind. It was His interest for our good, our salvation, that made Him take the decision to go to the cross. Even when He was hanging there on the cross, accepting all the pain of the crucifixion, He was willing to do that because He kept each one of us in His mind. We, all of us, were primary part of His decision-making process. And He decided and we are saved. And now it's our turn to make our Lord Jesus and His interest the primary element in our decision-making process. And once we do that, we will also be able to love our neighbor as we should. May God bless each one of us.